Actually, welcome everybody. I'll be right back. I just need to do something. Because it's a terrible place for a signal. So welcome. I am Tom Suri. This is 023, the Parachute Channel. Actually, with the Parachute Channel, by the way. So the channel, one of the channels that we've got with the second biggest sub rate on is the mental health channel. I'm kind of thinking of reordering them one more time, so that when I choose to do certain conversations that aren't really belonging on the first channel, but they're more like I don't know, like a chat group for Zero News or for the movement, but not on the main channel. So if we can slowly push the second biggest channel up to 1,000, just so I can go live. I mean, I can do it anyway doing this, but it doesn't give you quite the same camera options. Then that begin the comments is just pointless. Yeah, completely pointless. So I'm doing this channel so I can go at my pace. It's not a podcast. It's me having a conversation with myself, really. Well, it's not just with myself, but my health has got better, and then I don't know. Last few days it's been a bit. Okay, so let's start with the good news, right? So I'm no longer the guy sitting wondering about whether he's going to get the job. I'm the guy that's got the job. What's so crazy and so important about that is that right as I am about to start my first job for this guy who, you know, as I said, I've explained my situation, my position, the fact that I can't 9 to 5. We've worked around it all. And then literally the first job he asked me to do coincides with me being ill. And so it's like major 10 out of 10 test straight away. First job, first go, first time constraints. And I must admit, I got to admit, my heart sank and I thought, this is it. Here we go. And long story short, because there's not much to tell in terms of conversations, it's like amazingly understanding. But I was like, trouble is with me is like, I'm not very understanding with myself. It's like so a bit like I said when I did one of these before, it was like, if I'm sat at home in the comfort of my own home, then unless I'm in a 10 out of 10 pain in which you can't obviously sit comfortable, then I can put video together. Unless it's really, really, really bad, I could put video together. So I did. And I did, and I did. And guess what? I got it finished well within the time. In fact, it was quite therapeutic to be using someone else's footage, someone else's ideas, someone else wants it a certain way. Your creative input is quite small unless they're asking you to pull something off. So, but that's good because basically you've just got to create this here that you've been presented with, put on the screen. And it's like, all right. And so I want to go on my main channel and scream at people, fucking shove up your. Do you know what I mean? I really would like to ram it down some people's throats. But here's the problem. One is I don't think the person I'm working for will be too impressed because, you know. Two, I realize that there's still, I mean, this is the second job I've been offered through what I do on the camera here. And the first one I turned down and it was stupid. And I should have taken it, but this time around I wasn't so stupid. And people have got to understand, people say, oh, it's dead end or the rest of it. Doing this has got me that work. Doing this has got me people asking me in the past, will you do this? Will you do that? Asking for prices. Do you know what I mean? So it's just the same as it did when I was fixing computers. But what I don't want to do is make people who feel the same way I was only a week ago feel the way that I felt then. And there's plenty of them on any side of politics. So for that reason, I'm not going to go bashing people over the head with it. I'm not going to go bash people over the head with it. But I would like to say a big thank you to all those, you know, I'd paid my taxes and everything else to pay for if I was ever ill, if I ever had a problem. And not through the government, not through anybody else, but through a bit of luck, through my own perseverance, through my own hard work, and through somebody having a really open mind, and also probably seeing a way of getting the work they want done. They don't care when it's done, they care how it's done. And yeah, I can see the benefits both ways. So it's like, it's a totally legit registered company. It's totally everything. And so it's like I can actually see the benefit of having someone like me on board. I always have been able to. So I always used to say, God, if people would just let people work from home a bit more, like someone like me could be so much more useful. But it takes a brave employer. And thankfully, I suppose, and I hope he would, because he may see this, I hope the person, you know, doing the employing is doesn't mind me saying, you know, probably his desperation helped me as well, because he was desperate for someone to do what I was doing at the price that I was wanting. Obviously with the price in the future, if we do well, to go up, but with the price I was wanting, which is basically enough to live on, and everybody's happy. And then with a ladder, maybe not a ladder to climb as in going up the ranks of a company. But at my age, is that really what you're looking for anyway? But a ladder to climb in terms of wages, in terms of responsibility. So that's good enough for me. And so yeah, I wanted to get the kind of that, because that is the good news for me. I mean, I've done a couple of short-term things you know, since all this, but it has been a long slog, and that's why I used to put. I say used to because at the moment I can't afford to, but it's why I used to put 17 hours a day into doing this, simply because I felt terrible about what I wasn't doing elsewhere. So when you had all these jerks on the internet, I used to not let it bother me because one thing you know is that if someone accuses you of something on the internet, they're more than likely um, they're more than likely standing in a glass house. So you know the person that accuses you of being on drugs is probably sat there with a needle hanging out their arm, you know? So it doesn't bother me in that way. But yeah, same time. So it's just a nice, free, good feeling. I'm in a fairground at the moment, by the way. Can you have a look? It's empty. Probably not allowed to film, but I'm in a fairground. Now, this fairground, by the way, interestingly, was here. Hang on a second. This fairground was here when we had the actual last lockdown. Not the last one, but sorry, the first lockdown. And nobody gave a shit. And then somebody phoned up on them apparently and got them removed, but they're back. And it's still weird. When I think that I'm going into the chemist and I'm going into the shops and everything's being wiped down after I've used it and stuff like that, it's weird to think then, when I'm sure they're taking measures here. I'm not having a go at these by any stretch of the imagination at all. But nevertheless, you kind of think, well, how could you ever maintain the same level of cleanliness in a place like this? And what's more, you couldn't class as essential. Now I know things are easing up. And by the way, I'm all for this. So please don't take me the wrong way. All I'm getting at is the hypocrisy. Again, I mean, I'm not really sure because, like I say, I mean, you could say it's due to easing a lockdown, but they were here when we had full. I am, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't know how the lockdown procedures affect these people, but I can't imagine because I don't know. Many of you, some of you live in cities and that where I don't know. I mean, do you get fairgrounds turn up in cities? I suppose it's whether you got a common or something for them to go in, and whether they got council permission. It's like here. I mean, you've seen how much grass space we got here, so the council give permission easy. But it's never occurred to me, like in London, that like do you get little fairs like this turn up in London, or um or not? It's never occurred to me because obviously you've got your big fixed ones you can go to. It's not for young people. um, no, I can't film you because you're too young. I'll get in trouble. It's yeah. Sorry, it's even YouTube would ban it straight away, and it should do really. Imagine how many, and if they've got your mum and dad's permission, it's different. Then it's totally okay. But without your mum and dad's permission, some old pervert could be filming you. You know. So I didn't know how to say that really. Probably not the right words to use, but um. Oh, they got the hand sanitizer in that here actually. I will just cause. Oh, maybe I won't. Anyway, um, I don't think I'm allowed to go beyond there. Yeah, it's nice to see something actually in my area that makes things look a little bit more normal. As I said, things in my area have been normal for a while anyway, in terms of activity. But this is interesting because although we've got the. Oh, I'll show you actually. So I don't like StreamYard for this, and I'm sorry I can't see your comments. Don't know what happened there. Right, hang on a second. Anyway, yeah. So you see, you got like the sanitizers and stuff there, but it's actually pretty all right. It's all right. I thought it was going to be obviously these guys, mind you, these guys could have been going throughout the winter. They might have had to been dealing with this for a long time. I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, not for probably the last lockdown, but they had to get through the last summer. And you can imagine if a place like this. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know whether you guys get these in cities or not, but I'll try and get a better angle. But these guys come in, they unpack, and the place looks awesome. And then the day they leave, pretty much, I think they start like early in the morning. By the time it gets to like getting dark at night, the last trailers are leaving. They're gone. They're gone. You know. I'm sure a lot of you must get these sort of things coming around your places, but we tend to get a few more come into these places because there's so many places to put them. But it's actually nice as well being able to walk here quiet. It must be, I don't know if it's open or semi-open, but you're normally not allowed to walk around places unless they are. But one would be interesting to see. What would be interesting to see is how many people come racing over here. Because all the kids love these things over here, regardless of the fact that us adults are like, the kids do love these little places. They're not as good as like theme parks because there's not as many rides, there's not as much to do, and once you spent there a couple of hours, you know, you've seen it all. But same time, this ain't here like 365 days a year. So for kids, it's great. So kind of makes you wonder. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder whether there's going to be a flood of people trying to come over here, and it's going to be really busy, or whether it's going to be the reverse and people are still going to be scared and staying away. I mean, my personal feeling is, and I base this on common sense and our visit, or my lack of a visit to the beach, but the things I said around the beach, same thing. I think it'll actually be busy as hell, really busy. 1 second. It's trying to rain, just so you know, in case I have to leg it. So yeah. So anyway, so a little bit of preamble. So I'm just looking around myself. It's been a while since I've tried these out. Perhaps I will for the fuck of it, eh? No. So the title, I don't want to be a clickbait title. So again, this is not a podcast. It's not a video. This is just me having a chat. And like I say, if you want me to keep these chats off the main channel, then help me get one of the second channels up to like 1,000, just so I can go live without having to use StreamYard. So that'd be cool. Because there's more conversations where I'd like to bring you in and have a chat, but I can't do that with the crap that I'm seeing on here. I can see Scatterfee's comment. I can see that. Sometimes he's in Southampton at the moment because of reports of wrongdoings in London shop. He's passed it also the police now. Oh, what you mean? Which Danny? Danny? Oh shit. Danny Tomo. Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, so I don't want to say too much about coming up. Although I will get there. But no, I remember doing videos before, and again, like, this is not a podcast. It's not meant for most viewers. This is for the people that, for whatever reason, have got to know me and got to know who I am and everything else, and give a shit about what I think, and I think it's fair to say for a lot of us that we come into these movements and stuff, and we what's the word? We have an idea that we're all on the same side. Then we realize that's not quite true, and then we go through this awakening that actually, you know, people are human in these groups just the same as they are outside the groups, and people are individuals, and everybody's got their own way of doing things, and all this comes to light as you go through it, and you can either take that badly and react to it badly and I've seen people react to it as badly as, say, going Nazi, or by leaving completely, or you can persevere. And if you persevere, what you find is you've got to part the personal and the professional. And if you start looking at the professional, you start to find that there's more people on the same side when you're looking professionally. That's why when I constantly hear talk about like infighting and stuff, it's actually quite irritating, because the amount of infighting is, especially over the periods where people have been accusing the most, has been like almost zero. And the amount that there is would probably quantify about 0.1% of the entire movement in terms of people. So it's always I used to say it before I knew better, but so even if there is any contentious issues, it's like, I haven't seen any since I've been around that have split an entire community into two, for instance, from top, or not that I know, but from let's say from the people I do know all the way down. I've seen people trying to create a split. I've seen people trying to do all kinds of things, but a lot of those things were predicated on they're not necessarily them trying to break up another group, but trying to create their own, or trying to become famous because they believe they can become famous on YouTube. Your Jake Pauls and your Logan Pauls and people like that. And people, unfortunately, all you've got to do, I've had it myself, the letters and the emails telling you how wonderful you are and how good you are and how kind you are, and if you're not careful, what happens is you start to believe your own hype. You start to believe the hype train. Don't forget, it takes someone 2 minutes to be moved by something you say when you're at your best, possibly on a podcast. And sorry, I'm trying to reanimate my thoughts. What am I trying to say? Sorry, I had a few things going on around me once, and all of them were annoying. Let me just think a minute. Stressful. It's a sort of stressful day. I don't really know why, but spring is definitely. It's cold, and winter's hanging on, but spring doesn't give a fuck. It's coming regardless, and it's cool because I think in the next few days, it's going to stamp its authority at some point, and it's going to get really warm. Well, I can't remember what I was going to say, but so let me go back to the original. So okay. So let me just go back to why we fight then, or why I felt I need to even do a video today. A couple of things, by the way. A happy birthday to Umbrella Grape Solutions. I know it's not exactly the perfect sunshine day for it. Let's just put it that way. But nevertheless, happy birthday anyway. And also wanted to shout out to someone else for an important reason, and that's just gone blank as well. For fuck's sake, there was something else I wanted to say to someone. It'll come back. There's a few people I need to contact. What's new? But I will. But what's got me thinking anyway? So let's just move on. What's got me thinking? I've done admin and moderating. I've owned sites, websites, forums, bulletin boards. I've been part of the file sharing. I mean, I've, as I've said to you, as well as doing hardware, programming, software, fixing devices, PCs, consoles. I mean, I'm not saying it that quickly to try and be impressive. I'm saying this is what I was good at. We've all got something. And that was what I used to be good at. And so, sorry, hang on. Yeah, sorry. So getting into this, like I say, finding a job was not what I thought would happen. Not the way, not in this kind of way. But but so I've had every place along the food chain, from people taking me on board their site and putting trust in me to either run a site, or to anything from as simple as helping moderate to run a site, to just ideas I've had on my own. And I've started up my own sites. Some of them as simple as pure gaming sites, other ones more political, other ones more philosophical. I used to have a site called "What is the Meaning of Life," for instance, and it was a kind of joke question, but nevertheless, it's a cool title. And so I've done it for quite literally, in one way or another. I've been watching groups and stuff for past 20 years. And the reason I stopped doing it was because I noticed that majority of groups, it wouldn't matter if you make a it wouldn't matter if you make a what's the word a group about fishing, astronomy, and or computers. The chat that you would get on there would be the same. And that is, especially going back to the old days when it all first started, Star Trek, porn, and these days everyone's a Jew and everyone's a Nazi. It hasn't changed that much in 20 years. So we keep going on about how social media technology and that is moving forward and fast. Yeah, it is, but we're not. People keep going about how the generations are adapting quickly to this technology. No, they're not. No, they're not at all. People are reacting at, say, 20 years old, the same way as they were reacting at 50 years old to social media, except social media is now more user-friendly and certainly more cushions your experience. It's actually, what's the word? It's easy to use, and it's what's the word? It's easy to use and things like that. I'm going around you, don't worry. Sorry, it's pointing at me, so don't. We can. Well, what would have to happen is say you came here and your mum was with you. Then I've done it before. I've interviewed someone, but their mum was there, and I just said, "Mum, is it okay?" And mum said, "Okay," and then carry on with the interview. So yeah, I am, but it's on me. Why am I recording? It's live. It's live. So if I stop it, then I have to restart it. So everybody's listening to me have a conversation with you at the moment. So, what about what? Well, guardian, legal guardian. Yeah, whoever's your legal guardian. Yeah. YouTube. I'm sure YouTube says hello back. See you later, guys. Oh, not many. Only about 11,000. Which when you. No. No, I'm not. I've got 0. Yeah, but I bet you ain't tried. I bet I was gonna say, I bet you ain't tried. So you got to make some first. Oh yeah. Give it a go. Give it a go. It's fun. This one, I am on there a little bit, but I don't want to say it's kind of for adults really. In my oh look, parental discretion is advised. It's called Zero News. Say hi to the kids, guys. I can't show you. I can't point the camera, but say hi. I'm sure they're saying hi back. No, because the particular thing I'm talking about at the moment wouldn't fit. And how do I know you're not going to ring someone and pretend they're your mum? Would you, or would you just? Do you know what? I'm almost tempted to, but I've got no reason to do it, and I feel like I'd be doing it just for the sake of it. But I don't want to. I don't want to sound like a meanie. Well, look, I come over this way, whether I'm podcasting or not, nearly every day. So what else will come tonight? Tomorrow?
see you, I can say yeah. Or
No, I've got to see at least something written, if not voiced. Or if you was to contact her when I'm there tomorrow, and it's the same thing. As long as you will show me in front of you, you contacting her and her answering it naturally, so I know. I know it sounds stupid, but I can get done for it. So yeah, deal. Say again. Yeah, they did. Yeah, yeah. Good, they're friendly people on here, so. Yeah, it's a mixture. It's a mixture. There's 70% boys, but that's because 70% of men use the internet compared to 30% of women. That's the only reason. It's not necessarily because I don't know why. I don't know why. Probably today I won't, but I might. I was thinking. I was just saying that when I was going in there. I was thinking about filming one on there, see what it would look like. So, well, I might do. I might do. What do you want to talk about if I do come and speak to you tomorrow?
like, I don't know.
Well, will you talk to me about how the lockdown's been for you?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah?
What-
It's called Zero News, but if you shut your parents, they definitely won't let you on it. Oh, God. Right, well, um, because it's just, I know it's a dead end, isn't it? It's just space. It's just, I can walk it off, turn around, come back, and, yeah. Yeah, I do. That's what I'm saying. I come over here, well, not every day, but most days. Possibly. And if not, definitely by the day after. So probably tomorrow. Yeah. I don't always wear these, so well, it's probably boring because it's mostly politics and stuff. But if you want to have a chat with lockdown, uh, I'm not telling you. I'm giving you everything I'm going to give you. You got the last bit wrong. You're gonna have to figure this part out. Right, I'm gonna go because some people are waiting for me. Catch you soon. Sorry, guys, I feel guilty. Not giving us some time because they're pretty cool. Because round here, people will treat you two ways, especially youngsters, which is normal for youngsters, and they'll either. And it reminds me of the old days when I was filming. They would either embrace you or they would just take the piss constantly. And that was nice because they were the embrace you type. But you just got to be extra careful. And for new YouTubers out there as well, by the way, who are in a situation like that, and you're so desperate to get the story out, like it's worth just holding on for a moment and going, am I actually allowed to film these people? No, they're under 16. You cannot film them. So just remember that you need parental consent. Otherwise, yeah, you're. It's not just a case of having your video taken down, and rightly, I think these days as well. I think quite rightly, especially after Netflix kitties, for instance. So where was I? So I'm never really going to get to it, am I? I don't think. Maybe I wasn't meant to say it today. So all these websites and stuff that I've had 20 years, and with the exception of the fact that some of the there's some words at the moment like cuck, shill, and all those other ones which are becoming, what's the word? Well, not becoming, have become mainstream stuff. They've only taken over from other things that were saying similar stuff. The Zionist stuff. I mean, it's just been going on for years. So nothing's really. What I'm seeing is nothing's really changed. And people said, "Oh, this new group of super keys are going to come along, and they're going to be so much better on the internet." So I haven't seen any evidence of that whatsoever. I see people going through the same learning curve. You join the internet. it's all fun and games. Then you get dragged into a social media. Then you spend 2 years or so thinking that what you're doing actually matters. Then after a complete waste of your life, you suddenly, or some people suddenly realize, my God, what am I doing? And then they do their fastest to get the hell away from said social media channel. People from Peter Hitchens to people who you wouldn't know have all said taking time away, or no, not Peter Hitchens, someone else. Taking time away has meant that I've either never gone back, or it's meant that I've changed the way I've used it. Yeah, and I looked at social media being the very same way. So I don't even look at YouTube as social media. If I did, I couldn't go on it. I use the VK and Telegram mostly just as notice boards for you guys. And two reasons we don't have like a Zero News group where you could chat. There's two reasons. One is because we don't have the manpower, but two is because I know that I could open a chat on there and it'll end up saying the same thing as 15 to 20 other groups chats will say, and virtually word for word. And I'll get the same post in there. What's the point? It'd just be pure repetition. And it's during my time back in the position of being able to look at these posts, being able to look at these being able to look at these situations as what's the word? Sorry, I keep putting me off. It's not helping. Let me just get out of the way a minute. Where was I? What was that? It's frustrating. Fuck's sake. Where was I? 1 second. Yeah, sorry. So it's in looking around recently and being re-exposed to what I always used to call closed communities, because closed communities generally tend to rise on a high. Some will be self-sufficient for many, many years, and then usually they will self-implode. And then the survivors of them will set up new groups, and round and round the circle goes. But what you do see when you go on these groups is the worst of human beings. And that's something else that hasn't changed in 20 years. Can I get through? Oh, I can't get through there. That's something else that hasn't changed in 20 years, is that it brought out the worst in human behavior 20 years ago. It brings out the worst in human behavior now. And so if I want to go and find something guaranteed, say, racist, and I'm sorry for using these terms racist and that, they're so boring, I know. If I want to go and find something that I can guarantee says racist, I only need to go and look at, I'm not going to name them because it will just give people ammunition that's not fair. But there's certain places I go and I know that there'll be sites where you go in there, and I was quite shocked because names that I know, names that you know, I'd see in these groups, and I think, oh, cool, I know that guy. And then they'd be saying like the most shitty thing about, say, black people or whatever. And you think, really? From that guy? I thought that guy was like, and so I've seen this, and thankfully, don't get me wrong, it's not from everyone. There's a silver lining to all this. Then, you go for these experiences, and I'm grateful for every experience now because it all helps you grow. But at the time, obviously, it's hard. You get the experiences where you go out and you try and be as honest as you can, and the result is you get called a liar by everybody. And it's like, again, it's an experiment. It was always an experiment, but with some, I wouldn't say unexpected. I wouldn't say unexpected. I would say hard to deal with ramifications. Harder than I realised they would be to deal with. I didn't realize how. I've got a thing about truth, and you can't always be true, but I've got a thing about truth, and people have said to me, "What? There's something wrong with you to be obsessed with it as you are." And I actually started thinking that may be true, until I spoke to some of you, made me feel a bit more normal again. But yeah, people, you always get people will tell you you can't be too truthful, you can't be too honest. For me, I've had the police tell me that. I've had ex-girlfriends tell me that. I've had all types of people tell me that. All of them were wrong. All of them were absolutely so wrong. And found it saying so. Anyways, but you learn, you move on, and good. Thankfully, you're building up an even better community with some of the pillars of the old one and newer ones coming along. So that's cool. So then there's misunderstandings, and there's like someone I fell out with who kind of regret a little bit, but I think people get misinformed about the things that I say and do, and I did one wrong thing which I probably shouldn't have done, but the second thing I don't even really know what it was. But what I do know is I didn't do it because I got the got the idea of where it was going, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, when someone just tells you that they believe someone is a complete and utter pathological liar, but they're prepared to believe the lie that they told about you, that's the end of the conversation for me, because it's like, well, so you've just said you think they're a liar about absolutely everything, but not me. Shut up, go away. So and then so there's all this, and then and you see people treating each other rotten at times. You see that the hate towards certain groups, certain people at times. You see all of this, and for someone like me, taking it all in, and you may go, "Oh, is this all about your feelings?" Even if it was, I wouldn't be ashamed of it. But no, it's not. It's not just about feelings. Feelings are involved, but not my feelings. Not my feelings, but not my feelings getting hurt. It's more about looking and thinking, I'm getting out of bed, whether and none of you have asked me for this, so this is not about putting this on any of you, because nobody's asked me to do this. I've done this off my own volition. I've done this off my own free will. So there's nobody's asking for a thank you, and and I'm very aware of the things I haven't managed to do yet, and I stress the yet. But at the same time, I still did and still will be giving up that time, and it's going to be even more precious that time now. I'm working again, and I needed, I think, to come out and say the fucking way people treat each other. It's got nothing to do with factions. It's got nothing to do with politics. It's got nothing to do with groups. It's got to do with fucking human behavior. Left, right, center. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're either a decent human being and knows how to treat people, or you're not. Or you're a person that knows how to treat people, and you make a choice of how you treat them. And that's got nothing to do with sides, and it's got to do with right and wrong. And the problem is, I think there's so many people that are so used to getting away with wrong that they convince themselves of the rightness of that. They become I don't know, almost impervious to their own bullshit. And so it's like, whether you see people who you respect, or whether you see people you don't even know, you if you're not careful, you can see quite a gloomy, grim view of not just the right or the left, just everything. And you just think, Jesus, like, why am I getting up in the morning? Why am I going out? Why am I putting my body for this? What? And again, nobody's asked me to, but why? Why? Because sometimes I think, are these fuckers worth fighting for? Please excuse me saying that. And you'll understand that the answer is yes, but it's how I get to the answer. And it's like, are they worth going out and putting myself, in the risk of getting nicked, in the risk of getting this, in the risk of getting that and that? And it's like, for a little while, to be honest, I thought, no, what it's worth doing is getting what money I've got left, selling the fucking 3.5 grand I spent on the fucking podcast this November or December, and fucking getting the money back from a lot of it, waiting until I get my health passport or whatever the fuck, and getting the fuck out of this country and coming back if and when I choose, which was my plan before I started doing the podcast. Was to do a podcast, but do one after I'd moved away out at the country. To come back a few years later. I wasn't going to leave permanently, but I was just going to come back a few years later. Once I'd scratched that itch. And I remember saying to someone, my friend Maz, I remember saying, it was 2 years before the coronavirus or the pandemic. And I said to my friend, I said, it's got this feeling. I said, I've got to go this year. I said, or next year latest. And I said, if I don't go next year latest, I said, I'm going to be in trouble. I said, I've got this feeling. I was having dreams about it. And, you know, I don't normally talk like that, but I was having dreams about it. I was having all these different things. And I just kept thinking, so the first year went past and I couldn't afford to get the money together. So it was one of those things. The second year started shaping up. And I actually started to get in the position of being able to go away. That was 2019, folks. And I decided, right, I'm gonna save not just medication and money through well, I think it was September 2019, all the way through to April 2020. And April 2020. I wasn't telling anybody none of this because it was my surprise to myself, and also nice to be able to flick on the camera and go, guess where I am, you know. But I was going to stay from April, and then from about May I was going to sleep semi-rough, and then come back, say July time, maybe August, maybe September, depending on how money went and everything else. Anyway, we all know what happened come April 2020. And it's funny because monetarily, things switched round. Suddenly I had the money to do it and not the ability. It's funny how life works. Yeah, it's amazing how many people say, well, you ain't getting away anytime soon. Just spend money. So yeah, that never happened. That was a big thing for me because I felt like one of the biggest things I'd learned from the few independent journalists left, if there's something to see, if there's something you want to form an opinion on, read books, watch YouTube videos, do whatever you got to do. But if you can go. If you can see it with your own eyes, see it with your own eyes. If you talk to people, do it. Like there's just no substitute for being there on the ground, talking to people. You got people who tell you stuff unofficial, same as anywhere else, same as any other subject. You got people that talk to you unofficially. You got people that, you know, and so you've got. And before you sort of wonder, as some have, well, why would you want to do videos in Europe anyway? Because it's about Britain. Well, I actually never said it was about Britain. I mean, it's my concerns are primarily Britain, but two things is that Zero News was actually designed so that I could go abroad. So it was always designed with me being away in mind. Actually, originally more than I was at home, but things changed. But also, it was designed so that I could. What's the word? Sorry, I'm struggling with my thoughts at the moment. Anyway, so it was designed so I could be abroad a lot of the time. That was the original idea, really. And then, like I say, obviously we know things how they went, but by that point, by April 2020, that was at the back of my mind anyway, because we've been going a couple of years and I was in full, you know, whatever mode. So I wasn't really thinking as much about it as I should have been. And I'd also been sort of sabotaged. That's what I'm forgetting. I'd also been sabotaged that year by someone who didn't want me to go. That's all I'm going to say on that. and I'll never forget it because it's turned out to be really difficult, obviously. So I've got to be honest, you know, when you take the Hawkeye position and you take a look, sometimes you look at the human behavior, and if you're anything like me, sometimes when you look at human behavior from afar, even though if you're fair, you know you're one of those humans and you know that you have all the same capabilities behavior wise as everybody you're judging. It's always worth bearing that in mind. Nevertheless, you know, looking from this different angle made me think, the fuck am I doing? Like, you know, I don't know, just, I don't know. But out of the ashes of old friendships, alliances, stuff like that, what seems to be happening is like they say viruses evolve quicker than other organisms, and I feel like that's the constant reinvention that's happening with being a part of this. Is that, yeah, all this is true. So why would I bother getting out of bed to go and fight for these things when I'm fighting for the likes of other people that probably don't even like me? Because it's not about friendship. It's not about liking each other. And the other thing is as well is that I'm particularly harsh on myself, because if one person says a negative comment and 10 people say a positive comment, I tend to say, oh, people don't like me, which is just ridiculous. So you've got to try and balance that out a little bit. But the other thing is just that, like, when it comes to the professional side of it, there's some people that will never have a professional side to them, and asking for it is unfair to them because they are incapable of having that professionalism because they don't know how to do it. So you're asking somebody to water ski who's never been in water before. It's just, you know, you can't do it. So it's hard to judge them so much. But I think that, sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm actually out of breath. I don't know why. Sorry. But I see, so it's, you know, I look around and I think, okay, so you feel this way, you feel negative about people, but have you just asked yourself the negative stuff about people, or have you actually looked at the positives recently? Have you asked yourself what you got to be grateful for? Which it doesn't always work, but if you haven't asked for a while, it's worth asking. You know, what have I done that I didn't do before? Oh, these kinds of things. Is, you know, have I made any impact? And I heard a couple of things a little while ago, which I'm not going to repeat because I don't want to embarrass the person that said it, but they said something to me which shocked me, nearly knocked me off the back of my chair, and has made me feel like everything I've ever done has been justified based on this one event. And if that one event is all I've ever achieved, I feel justified because I know I've had an effect on the movement in a positive way. I just hope any negative impact I've had is overshadowed by it. I hope so. And so that was one thing. And I realized as well, it's like, we can't all be friends, as in, like, sometimes like 1,000 people want to be my friend. And I say that with all due respect. It's like, I can't be friends with 1,000 people. That's why it's funny to me when people have 1,000 friends on Facebook. It's like, when they tell you they got 1,000 friends, you mean acquaintances, right? And then, no, they're my friends. How often do you write to all 1,000 of them? Shut up. They're not your friends, you know? But anyway, just a really shallow way of looking popular. Sorry, I'm Mr. Fun today, aren't I? But what I have seen is, I've seen courage. I've seen genuine courage. I've seen people with a plan instead of just an emotion. I've seen people who are stand up no matter what the tide throws at them. I've seen people go down with their ship, which is actually quite inspiring because you know, it's easy to say it, not so easy to do it. And I think it's made me more prepared for when the inevitable day comes. And don't want to name names today because then there'll be loads of people that won't ever get mentioned or get forgotten. So everybody from names you've heard me mention before, to other names you could probably guess, to people you probably wouldn't, and to people you've never heard of. Friendships, working relationships. Okay, I'm shit because I'm always behind and I've got to catch up a lot of the time. But nevertheless, I found a lot of people that are prepared to be patient with the way I am. And vice versa, I'm patient with a lot of people. I don't give people a hard time if they don't get back to me when they say they're going to. I understand how it is. You know, you never know when you're doing this if you're going to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning working or not. You just don't. And I realized that I'm fighting for my friends. I realized that I'm fighting for my friends' kids. I realize I'm fighting for my family's kids, even though they're not mine. That they're related to me. I realized that so many of you that I've met have been good, opposed the bad, and the loudest voices are usually coming from the fewest people. And so you can get all these people that say all this horrible shit, but the reason they're shouting it so loud is because if they didn't, they'd be drowned out by the mainstream of people who don't agree with them. And the nastiness, whether it's towards me, towards the subjects, towards a particular group, like especially on Zero News, they drown it out. And this is what I realized, like, even though our community took a little bit of a knock, before it took a knock and afterwards, I look at our community and then I look at every other community I've ever been involved in, and I say, we're the shit. We haven't got the numbers. We had the numbers. We lost the numbers a little bit. We don't have the numbers. But I'll tell you what, we're getting them back with certain podcasts. And obviously not on this one because it's a secondary channel, but we're getting them back with certain podcasts. And do you know what? It's that I do feel like it's community version 2.0. More people getting a chance to speak, more, and I feel like it's kind of shaping up kind of nicely. So I don't know. Maybe you got to fell some old trees to let some new ones up. But I just feel like it's given, unintentionally, it's given the channel a new lease of life because I've got these new people, new ideas, as well as as I said earlier on, the pillars and the backbone of the channel that have been around for a while. So you've got a lovely mix, and it's those people I fight for. The people who say I'm disabled and I can't get to this demo, but I just want to see it. Those people. That was why we started going to demos, and I never forsake that role. That's a great role to be able to go and take people and show them what they would never normally be able to see. People in other countries, same thing. That's why I wanted to do it in other countries, to show people all these places. And so I realized that if I say I'm fighting for my friends, and by my friends I just mean the people in this movement, whether they be from Zero News, Team Tommy, to independent people or whatever, people that I've become close to, and that I would do anything for. And there's more of them than I would have ever have imagined. And that doesn't mean there's hundreds, but there's more people that I would do that for than I ever imagined. As in more than one, which is just incredible to me, because at one time there would have been a grand total of 0. And whether, like I say, whether it's from people from Zero News, whether it's from people from Team Tommy, whether it's independent people, whatever, there's people who would take a bullet for, and I think would take a bullet for me. And So then when I say it's my friends I'm fighting for, it starts to make a bit more sense. By the way, that doesn't mean to say I'm fighting for them and not the principle or the cause. I'm fighting the principle of the cause so that my friends aren't affected. But also as well, I realise that because we can't get on, my friends, as I'm calling them, are really just a small cross section of a populace that you can't sum up based on their internet activity. People quite literally, I've heard people say it, people quite literally log on to be the worst version of themselves. I hear it all the time, that people enjoy going on just to upset other people after a hard day's work. Genuinely. And there's a lot of things like this where I know a lot of people use it to take out their unhappy life on other people. As a result of knowing all this, you can't. But the other thing as well is that a lot of people assume they're fighting with bank managers, and they're fighting with kids, or the reverse. They think they're fighting with kids and they're fighting with 40-year-old bank managers. So it's like it's so meaningless on there. And so I think I've realised that for all that negativity in that, none of these people are worth taking seriously, because it's easy to go and say something in a private group when nobody knows you, blah, blah, blah. But is that how you really feel? Is that how you go on the street? Is that, And I base it on, when I'm getting to know people, what am I finding? Am I finding that so-and-so person A is a CUNT? Yeah. Am I finding they're a CUNT for all the reasons that people are saying? No, most of the time, no. This person being accused of being racist, that person being accused of being racist. For the most part, no. No, the things that people are accused for very rarely sticks. And that's the other thing is it's quite saddening when you realise that you're trying to release. Jason, I've still got to get back to you. It's really important. You try and release stuff to sort of help people, and then I don't know. I'm going to go around in circles here, but yeah, you realise that really fighting for the people around you, family, friends, acquaintances, the people that you're seeing the most, the people that you care about, and their kids and everything else, it's all you need to worry about. Because if you're fighting for them, you're fighting the same causes, you're fighting the same people, and you don't need to sit worrying about the whole planet. And as a result, you don't need to look at the actions of a whole planet based on their social media interactions. So the best thing I've just done, just let it go. Just let it go, because if I want to moan about helping people, which they've now asked for, well, the first thing I should do is, verify all that, and imagine the time it would take to find out who's actually moaning about what, who's prepared to say. Do you know what I mean? What a waste of time. I've got to look at the positives, and it's like, how many people like it when we do a good thing? A lot. How many people want things to improve? A lot. How many people, when they come and speak to us, go, oh God, I thought it was just me? How many people have we helped get off the sofa and get on their cameras more than I knew about? Have we had any positive effects on the movement? Yes, not groundbreaking, not revolutionary, but yes, we have. Actually, yes, we have. Maybe subtle here and there, maybe a nudge here and there, but we have. And as the whole winning losing things goes, that is just I don't know how long that battle will go on for, maybe forever. But that's a separate issue. That's a separate issue. The issue for me was, am I wasting my time stressing out over issues that are barely in my control, out of my control? Am I trying to spend my money on equipment and everything else for people that couldn't give a two shits, and unless it's just a day of drama and entertainment? And it's like, wow, that has all come from me. As in, that is a cynical miserable way of looking at the world, and I've come up with that due to my own mindset on the day that I thought that, and so that gets thrown out as just tosh, just like, shut up, Tom. You know that you've come up with that when you're not in the greatest of mindset. So you can ride with that if you want to, but it's you that's going to carry the stone around your neck. So it's like you can drop that or you can carry it. But the truth of it is that whether it's from the emails, the messages, like I say, you can't take too seriously, whether it's from the emails, the messages, from the people that offer to help, from the people that I've met, from the people that I know are still fighting, the people that I know will be fighting this year, including myself. The battles are only just beginning. We're having this lull at the moment, and everybody is mistaking that for a period of quiet. Everybody's preparing themselves like a spring on a pinball machine. Bang. Do you know what I mean? And I know I am, and I know I'm going to do something that, if it doesn't shock you, fine, but it's going to shock me this year. I'm going to do something out of character, which is why I really wish I could get out of the country, but I'm going to do something very, well, what would seem out of character to you guys, because you haven't seen me be like this. I've been very one way since I started this podcast. I've been obsessed, quite frankly. But the reasons I wanted to go to Europe, some of the reasons were originally, bear in mind where we were in the story back then, I was trying to go and look. Do you remember when we had all the camps there and everything else? I wanted to go and look with my own eyes, interview with my own eyes. I wanted to go and look at the problem areas. I've been to Turkey before, and there was troubled Turkey and that and everything else, and I wanted to go and show, because everybody still talks about everyone still talks about Turkey as this democratic country, and I can anybody can, but I can show you a very different place, especially when you get to nighttime. Along the east coast of Spain, there's some places there where, if you want to see racism, I'll show you some real racism, and then look at our country and say, aren't we good? You know, there's so much. It's a wealth. There's a gold mine of stuff, as there is in this country. And so, as I was saying earlier on, that parachute channel I've got, right? I'm not saying don't sub to it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that parachute channel on my website, and I'm going to take it off of YouTube for the simple fact that they are now following up on parachute channels. To anybody who doesn't know what parachute channel is, parachute channel is when they blow your main channel away and they take it down. And so what you do is you jump to a channel you had pre-set up in order to survive. Well, they know people are doing it, obviously, and now they are actively on you. And somehow, and I don't know how they've done it, because VPNs and everything have been used, but somehow they've been able to stop people from doing anything. So the parachute channel won't work that way. The only way it might work is by just putting all of the addresses to everything I do on the website. There's still a lot more addresses to go on there. I'm still, I don't want to give you, I want to give you the addresses in the order that I use them. So, because I wouldn't expect you to make fucking 15 bookmarks for me. So it's trying to figure out which order. But the idea at the moment is to have the website, in terms of Zero News, the idea is to have the website as a place where you can go, right, where is he? And it'll be there. So if you make a note of, and again, I've got emails I haven't got back to you. I will be getting back to you, ladies and gentlemen. I've been a bit slow. There's been a couple of form entries for the website. Again, I've been slow. I apologize. There are reasons for it. None I want to disclose at the moment, but there are reasons for it. And obviously, like I said, I'm balancing things with doing this work now. But but I will get back to them. So if you are looking to get hold of me or host any, if you've been taken down, you're looking to host any links or whatever on my webpage or whatever else, then you can contact me either through the site and find the different channels on the site at zero-news.co.uk, zero-news or -news.co.uk. And if you just want to write me an email, it's thisis0news@gmail.com. And then all the social media and everything else, well, nearly all of it, is all on there. And it does need an update. So when you go on there at the moment, you'll see the news is out of date. So yeah, but it really is just intended as a portal to find us wherever we may be. So at the end of all this, and I haven't really explained this anywhere near close to what I was trying to, and yet it's gone on twice as long as I wanted it to. Partly because every time I was just getting in the flow, someone would interrupt me or annoy me or whatever. But never mind. But I just think that I got reminded of the ugly, ugly, ugly side of people. And it gets me down. I must admit, it gets me down. Like, I don't find an individual person, unless I really got a lot of feelings for them, that depressing, because I can tell them to fuck off, right? But when it's everywhere you look, or it seems that way, and when it seems like everyone's full of negativity, when it seems that way, that is when you kind of go, what the fuck am I doing this for? But, you know, I will say sometimes you've got the right to feel like that, but often you've got to make sure that you take a look the next day and the next to make sure you're not seeing what you want to see, or, you know? So, and for me, that's kind of what I've had to do. And I realised that, you know, you wouldn't come to the channel if you weren't interested in what we're doing. You wouldn't be as kind to me as you are if you weren't interested in what we're doing. I wouldn't be so excited about showing stuff to you if there wasn't a natural connection there. Because there's certain things I really get excited about showing you, like with a certain demo, and if I know that, you know, not many people are going to be filming it, and I think, you know, they're going to get this because of me. That hasn't happened so much in a long time, obviously, when we had, you know, but there was times where I'd think, shit, I may be the only camera guy there today. And that felt like a horrible responsibility, but at the same time, really cool when you pulled it off. I love that. I love that feeling of being able to go, you know, I did it, did the full 8 hours, you know. So yeah, I'm remembering a lot more of that, and like, I do feel bad for all the people that I haven't contacted. They must think, oh yeah, you used me and then moved on. It's, you know, it's really not like that. But yeah, so there was me saying to you about how many shit people there are, but what I really meant was people can act really shit, which something we all know, but it really gets amplified the further out you look. People can act really shit when they're hidden behind a fake name, encryption, a keyboard, and a monitor. And it really does bring out the fucking worst in people. And it's definitely, though, in my opinion, not the way to judge people and whether what you're doing is right or wrong. Just the same as you wouldn't go to a pub and get everyone drunk and then film it and then say this is a good example of human behavior, because it wouldn't be fair. It's the same kind of thing. It's as much as people shouldn't be wankers on the internet, they just are. And so measuring it as though it means something more than it does is disingenuous. So, and so with the thing about fighting for your mates, it's like, because you're all my mates, really. Because even if I don't know you, you probably represent someone who I know who is similar to you, who I am standing up for. Or, do you know what I mean? You're all mothers or daughters or aunties or uncles, or I can relate to you in some way, shape, or form that's enough to say, yeah, you know? And so I will not succumb to this ugliness of the internet and the way people. There's a lot of people at the moment that would love to smash everything to pieces. The left and BLM being ahead of the pack, but there's more than that. There's a lot of people that would just want to burn it all down. And And I think what they're trying to do is get us in that mind frame, in that mindset. Fuck it, burn it all down, you know? Everything's shit. Police are useless. And we all agree on one thing, we all agree on that, but it's how to deal with it. And I just think they make us more angry, so that we end up agreeing with this defunding the police, which I think is an example, which I think is a terrible idea. It's like, it's not, they don't need refunding, they need resetting, you know? There's a whole bunch of really good principles in which the police are supposed to adhere by. And it shouldn't require anything else. But so they've forgotten the oldest trick in the book that the police had and have always had. And that is that the copper, that one single copper on your street is worth like worth 50 in your head. Do you know what I mean? Or the other way around. Because there used to be a day when you used to walk down the street and you wouldn't know if you would bump into a copper or not. Chances are you wouldn't. But there'd be like a 10% chance the next corner you walk around, you would bump into a copper. So walking around with a flat screen TV on your shoulder wasn't quite the comfortable sort of thing that it can be now. I mean, some of you must have seen the videos where people just walk into shops, grab a TV, put it on their shoulder and walk out. I mean, I find those videos hilarious because you got to have some fucking fun. But it's because there's so much fun and it looks so normal that nobody queries it. It's hilarious. But people wouldn't do that if they thought the next person they face could be a copper. And it was like that ingenious policing was the policeman in your head. Of course we know that there are always going to be more people than police. Of course we know we can outnumber them. We've always known that. But one thing about people in this country is they're pussies in some ways, and nobody wants to be the first, and nobody wants to be the only one. And that keeps people in line. Nobody wants to be the only one because it'll ruin their reputation. So it keeps them. It used to keep them in line. They wouldn't cross that line in case they were the one. They got embarrassed by, having to face the music. So I say, bring it back to where it used to be, where you've got that at least fear of bumping into them. I mean, when we had that last lockdown, I mean, they stopped me like 3 times, none of which was for anything important. Didn't stop me over the lockdown, didn't stop me over the illegal bike that I'm riding. None of that. Just they thought it was suspicious that I left my house and then came back so quick. Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so I think you've got to just judge things by the people around you and the people that you're working with. And in my time so far, I can say that the people around me and the people I'm working with have continued, for the most part, on an upward trend. And like any sinus wave, there's up and down, up and down. And we had, unfortunate people we met right at the very, very beginning of the podcast. We've had, but all these waves are learning waves. And then behind every single one of those waves is a lesson how to be better. So, yeah, got some good plans and a way of producing the show as a show, as opposed to just a random collection of images. And it's all coming, and that's why I wanted to speak to you, Jason. I know it's me that's taking the time, but it's because there's some things that can be done, and I think I've got the people in places now that are prepared to do it, and it offers us opportunities and a new kind of awesome, which I will be so happy to show off. And it's not about showing off, really. It's about giving you like the best we can, and hoping that you notice it, appreciate it, and if you don't, then we know it's not that big a deal. But if you do and you like it, well, then we know it's a hit. So, and that's the thing. So there's certain things. That's the other reason why I don't like always Sorry, just checking that. The other reason why I don't always like announcing things ahead of time, because sometimes I like to get a genuine response. And if people don't even notice, it's like, well, that went down well, you know. So anyway, I'm absolutely fucking exhausted. I think it's going to get warmer the next few days. Hey ho. And I just realised that's not caught any of that, has it? Shit. I hate StreamYards, especially for going out live. I hate it for going out live. Well, I'll tell you what, as that's just killed that last blurb I did. Sorry if this hasn't been super exciting, but this wasn't a podcast today. And I've not really said the way it probably was in my head because of the amount of interruptions, but it doesn't really matter. The point of it is that I've had a nice chance to have a look at the ugliest parts of people again. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't matter what negativity is thrown at me. I know that most of us and what we're trying to do is good. And as long as I can keep making that argument and knowing it's true, everything else is just irrelevant. Yeah, everything else is irrelevant. And so I've got to figure out next few days, get myself fully back in action. And I say it that way because I've really kind of taken a few days out. As I said, I've had to do work anyway, but I could have slipped an extra bit of work in. But I've got a hell of a lot of work to do now, not just official, but in terms of on the podcast, because there's some things I really want to learn. And I just needed to know that I really was prepared to go and give another 2 years of my life working solidly on these really hard to learn things. If I was on an island doing it, do you know what I mean? But I think I realized even before I switched on the podcast today that's a mindset. That's just a mindset, and there's plenty of. Let's just put it this way: there's plenty of people who have given me plenty of good reason to believe that there's enough to fight for. So maybe I was just looking for an excuse out. I don't know. Anyway, I'm I'm gonna go because one thing I will say is I'm finding every noise irritating right now. I don't know why. And yeah, sorry for making it all about me, but I just needed to have this conversation with myself, just so that I could get on, so that next time I do a podcast, I can focus fully on what I'm doing, the content, the quality, everything. And I couldn't focus while I hadn't really sort of sorted this out in my head. And then got it out of my fucking head. And I feel like I've talked myself out. 1 second. 1 second. No, it's all right. It's all right. I thought there was someone going to my house. No, it's all right. Right. Love you loads. Thanks for you, those of you who were crazy enough to come and listen to all that. Sorry, I didn't really make my points properly. I tried, but it's very difficult. And yeah, and we'll get back to doing what we do best, and hopefully be there at the weekend as well. Should be. I haven't even really thought about it much, to be honest. And I think we'll have the weather with us if we do. Oh, sorry. So yeah, so it'd be good. So yeah, I will see you then. My name is Tom Suri. This is 0, 2, 3, 4s. Current day for now. Sorry.